All right, everybody, we are checking in here. We were going to wait to record till later in the week, but Steve Kerr threw a curveball at us here, and we've got some Jayson Tatum news to talk about. Little bit of controversy going around on Team USA. We're going to get into it, so let's stop messing around. Scream with envy. Let's lock in. What up? What up? What up? Welcome into another edition of Green with Envy. As always, this is your boy Will. We're checking in. How you doing? How you living? Joining me today, as always, my best friend, co-host, and the coach of our podcast, who, if I'm correct, I believe he just has a full-time uniform for the podcast at this point. I think this might be the third straight championship gear head to toe, or at least
Well, here's
we
the
don't
thing.
see the toes in the podcast, but
I was
you get the
not
idea.
going to wear it, but I felt like some people needed to be reminded that the Boston Celtics just won the fucking NBA title and that Jayson Tatum is on Team USA. And maybe he needs to wear this uniform with the rest of Team USA because we need to talk about Steve Kerr's insanity benching
Yeah.
Jayson Tatum. I have been fired up for the last 36 hours or whatever it's been. So I'm very excited to talk about this because I've been furious.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a long podcast. We're going to get right into it here, but just setting the scene. Game one of pool play on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, U.S. time. United States takes down Serbia 110-84. Serbia being likely the strongest competition they're going to face in their pool. They will play South Sudan on Wednesday, followed by their final pool play game against Puerto Rico. And, leading up to the tournament, we talked a lot about what will Steve Kerr's rotations look like and how bad they were, quite frankly, leading up to the Olympics, because in all of these exhibition games, it was like a hockey 5-on-5 type shift. So we weren't really sure what to expect. Kevin Durant hadn't played. Kevin Durant becomes active for this game. And there's only two guys on Team USA that catch DMPs. Tyrese Halliburton, which we predicted for a while, seemed very, very likely that was going to be the candidate. And as Greg just alluded to, Jayson Tatum, first team All NBA 3 years running, top 6, 3 years in a row MVP, NBA champion, Jayson Tatum. NBA champion Jayson Tatum catches the DMP. So 110-84. This was obviously became a big plot line as the game was going on, and then post game it was, is he sick? Is he hurt? And ultimately Steve Kerr worked Durant back in, and someone had to go in his opinion, and that was Jayson Tatum. So, Greg, you said you're fired up. Take it away, man. What you got for us here?
I mean, I've always been not necessarily a Steve Kerr fan, but a lot of people don't like Steve Kerr. Just like as a coach around the NBA, I think he kind of rubs a lot of people the wrong way. He can be a little high and mighty at times with some of his comments in the media and whatnot. Um, I personally don't have a problem with him, the human being, but I have a huge problem with him, the coach. I hated everything that he was doing in the lead up to the pool play. Like you alluded to the hockey substitutions and the 5-man in, 5-man out shifts, and him just like
Committing to
jerking.
Embiid so, ferociously, right? Like just will not move off this Embiid move, which once again, in the Serbia game, the US was clearly, and I mean clearly, aside from all the Tatum stuff, the US was clearly better without Embiid on the court in that game.
Yeah, and I mean to be fair to him, he did bench Embiid for I think he played the first 3 minutes of the game and then didn't play again until 2 minutes left in
Yeah.
the first half after the team had kind of taken control with their better lineups which Anthony Davis at the 5 or Bam Adebayo at the 5. That lineup seems to work, but there were plenty of moments in this game where Steve Kerr very easily could have gone to Jayson Tatum. Like the fact that he didn't play him for 1 minute, he couldn't find him one stint on the court. He couldn't sit Devin Booker for a couple minutes, sit Anthony Edwards for a couple minutes, sit Derek White for a couple of minutes. There were plenty of times where Jayson Tatum's versatile defensive skill set would have been just fine on the court. And, there was one moment where Nikola Jokic went to the bench. I think it was in the third quarter. He had just subbed in Bam Adebayo, and they liked the combination of Davis and Bam going up against Jokic. But like the moment Jokic is on the bench, hey, you can put Jayson Tatum in the game and we're not going to get exploited. Like Jokic is not going to be able to take Tatum in the post because Jokic isn't in the game. And Jayson Tatum, newsflash for you, Steve Kerr, is a better player than Bam Adebayo. That's just the way it is. He's a better fucking basketball player than Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo serves his purpose. I love Bam Adebayo. I think Bam Adebayo should have been Defensive Player of the Year, but Jayson Tatum should be on the freaking court at some point in that game. And I don't know if you've been paying attention. I know you've been super busy. Congratulations to you. You just got married. You've been hosting family over the past couple of days. But Antoine Walker left a comment on Instagram where he was like, man, if I was Jayson Tatum, I would have packed my bags and went the hell home. Like there's a lot of people that are just saying Jayson Tatum should have left. And that's how I felt. I felt like if I were Jayson Tatum, I would have been like, hey, sorry, Steve Kerr, but like I'm giving up my summer. I'm giving up time with my family, my 5-year-old son. I could be doing a lot better things. I could be living my life like Jaylen Brown right now, visiting safaris and zoos, wherever he is right now. I'm on the bench sitting next to fucking Tyrese Halliburton. Get the hell out of here, Steve Kerr.
So two things on that. One, thank you for sliding that. Congratulations. Do appreciate that. Number two, you mentioned my dad was here. My dad does not watch basketball. You know, my dad, love my dad to death, has some pretty simple hot takes every now and then. One of them was exactly what you and Antoine just said, where he was like, I just go home. I was like, I don't know if that's a good look either, but literally that was what my dad said as we were talking about this yesterday. And yeah, it's really hard to figure out how, you know, I've talked a little bit about this where I understand for the most part the setup of this team when it comes to the selection process of like we have Tyrese Halliburton and Edwards are kind of the bridge to the next younger gap. We have this middle group of like Bam, Booker, Tatum that won gold medals last time. And now, you know, Derek White kind of fits in that range as well. And then there's like the senior group where it's Curry, LeBron, Drew, whatever, you know, the little bit mid-30 group, right? Mid-30 to, well, fucking LeBron's 40 and he was incredible. That was another whole other topic. Yeah, that's a whole other topic. And so if you're putting Jayson Tatum as like he's supposed to be one of the linchpins of USA basketball as we look towards the future, because LeBron was amazing. He's fucking 40. Steph, this is the first time he's been in the Olympics. Embiid, you're certainly not a great start. Not really looking to count on that. You know, Anthony Davis constantly is a injury concern. And so it's really important to not lose a guy like Jayson Tatum with the credentials that we just talked about. And so, you know, this is tough look for Kerr and for, you know, whoever the coaching management decision was to not play Tatum in that game. And honestly, what we saw Jayson Tatum just go through on Twitter, where the jokes, they were a flying left and right. And as a Celtics fan, it was kind of frustrating. And I felt really bad because I didn't think it was fair for all of that, you know, the bullshit, you know, weak path to the championship, or, oh, Jaylen Brown won the conference finals MVP, for all of that to then get piled on to, oh, now you're catching DMPs and you want to tell us your top 5 and all the other jokes come along with it. Like, that sucks. That sucks. And Steve Kerr has made a massive enemy of all the Boston faithful. But the one thing I will say is this is kind of part of my reasoning why I was glad Jaylen Brown didn't get picked for Team USA when they needed a Kawhi Leonard replacement, because I don't know that he would have ended up in this same spot as Jayson Tatum. But like I said, even when they had Kawhi Leonard on the team, this is where Grant Hill has been talking out of two sides of his mouth the entire time, between fit and stature and all these other things. Like, the Kawhi Leonard fit didn't make sense. There's too many mouths to feed on this team, which is why then when they brought in Derek White, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Derek White is going to be okay if he gets 16 minutes like he did, or if he gets 5 minutes, or he catches a DMP. Like, it's not going to be a thing, right? On Twitter, it's not going to be something that's going to turn, you know, a molehill turn into a mountain. Like, that's not going to happen with Derek White. So that made sense. But, you know, with JT, or excuse me, with JT, this is what I was concerned about, and I was glad that JB would never have to deal with this. Little did I expect that this would be something that Jayson Tatum would now be dealing with after one game of the Olympics.
Yeah, I like what you said about looking forward to future Olympics because Jayson Tatum, like at the end of the last Olympics, or everybody was saying he was the next guy, right? And the fact that they took the next guy and put him on the end of the bench
Right.
for the first game, like Steve Kerr, you have to think long term, not just for
Mhm.
these Olympics, but for future Team USA. Because if you're Jayson Tatum, if you're relegated to the 11th man on this team, there's no way you're coming back for the next Olympics. You're
And
just
you know
like,
what's
no.
weird about it, Greg, is how premeditated it was, right?
Mhm.
Because Steve Kerr after the game talked about like how he had talked to Tatum, and
Let's play
when
that
it
let's play that
wasn't
clip. We got that clip. Let's play
okay.
that
If
clip.
you got that, go ahead and play it. Go
Yeah.
ahead and play that.
Yeah, it's tough, but Jayson handled it really well. I talked to him today before the game that it may play out this way, just with Kevin coming back and the lineups that I wanted to get to. But that'll change. Jason's going to play. Every game's going to be different based on matchups. He's a total pro. He's first team All NBA 3 years in a row. I felt like an idiot not playing him, but 40-minute game, you can't play more than 10. You really can't. And so I think he's an amazing guy, great player, and handled it beautifully. And he'll be back out there next game.
Boo. Steve Kerr, you're a fucking idiot, man. Not only
So a
did
few
you feel like
things.
an idiot, you are an idiot, bro.
A
You
few
are
things
an idiot for not.
you can definitely play, as you mentioned, you can definitely play more than 10 people. Like there is easily a way to slide in. Like you said, Jokic played 31 minutes. There's 9 minutes right there that are easy Tatum minutes to go with this. And the thing is, like, I think that really could have given them an opportunity to have this crazy wing line. Like they went with a lot of 3 guard sets. Like I'm surprised that we haven't
Which
seen
doesn't make sense.
a yeah, like I'm surprised that we haven't seen almost like a Steph, Tatum, LeBron, AD look, right? That was even what I think that was maybe the lineup we even talked about, like fully healthy. Like good chance that probably should be your starting lineup, right?
You know
Like
what would be
that
a
right
good
there.
lineup for Jayson Tatum, Will?
What?
A lineup with the 2 other Celtics, where you could
Yeah,
just put Drew Holiday and Derek White, who did share the court for a 1 minute stint in last game, and then I think Drew Holiday came out of the game quickly for Ant. But if you went White, Holiday, Tatum, KD, and AD, pretty good lineup. Got a lot of
yeah,
size, a lot of defensive versatility. I think there's enough shooting on the court. If you're worried about Jayson Tatum's shot, which is a real concern, he hasn't shot the ball well in a couple of months. There's plenty of other guys in that lineup that can shoot it, and
right.
Jayson Tatum can run the show. He can do what he did. He can run a high pick and roll with Anthony Davis, with Drew Holiday in the corner, Derek White on a wing, KD on a wing. I think that would work pretty well. I think that combination would make a lot of sense. If you're worried about getting to the right combination, Steve Kerr, most combinations with Jayson Tatum on the court are gonna work. I'm furious, man. You wonder why Jonathan Kuminga has been so furious with Steve Kerr and been asking out of Golden State. You wonder why Klay Thompson wanted to get the hell out of there. Man, Steve Kerr doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
I feel like I'm getting a very Greg A. Manakis type vibe right now, and I'm kind of digging it. This is like a Stephen A. moment right here. Just like we talked about who
I'm
had
so
the A
mad,
first,
dude.
A
I'm so
Sherrod
mad.
or Stephen A. It's Greg A. Manakis that's in the building today for this episode. And the thing is, like, if you're not a Celtics fan, you either were cracking jokes or, I mean, the U.S. won by 26 points, right? So, and the thing is, it's not so much about even just like because the United States, they had a lot of guys that played really well in this game. And B was not one of them, like we talked about. LeBron was amazing. KD came back and was just shooting flames out of his ass. Drew Holiday was amazing in this game. Team USA Holiday is we gotta, just like we have like USA Mello. I think there's a USA Drew. Like I think there's like a different level that he goes to, with these guys out there. Curry was good, and Booker's the interesting one for me because I thought Booker actually, this was his best game by
He
far
played
out
really
of
well.
the right. He played really well, but this is where once again I'm coming back to the predetermination that Tatum was the guy out, and that's the part that really doesn't make sense to me because leading up to this, Booker was not anything in the warm up games leading up to this, right? Like he was either average or below average in just about every game, unless I'm missing one of them. And so that's the part for me that is really like once the game goes on and you see Booker's kind of got it going on, he's playing well. Could totally see Booker ending up with 25 minutes to take, or ending up with a 20-9 split versus Tatum because he was cooking that game. like that makes sense to me. The predetermination that we were just going to go Tatumless, it seems weird to me. And I know he's already said like Tatum is going to play versus the South Sudan. And I think Windhorst was the one that reported this. And he said maybe, I don't know if Kerr was just saying this as an example or if he meant that Bam's going to be the one that likely doesn't play. But how about you just don't have to predetermine who's not going to play? That's also like another fucking option. Like, what are we doing here? I don't really understand why we're predetermining some of these things, because it's, I still always think back when we had Steve Jones on the podcast and he was talking about the Celtics and the weight of like talent that the Celtics have, and that's the pressure that weight of all of their top lineup puts on the other team. When the Celtics take their foot off the gas or when they allow outs for the other team, that's when teams can compete with the Celtics in the NBA. Internationally, the U.S. is the Celtics internationally, right? Where they have so many lineup combinations that if you're not rigid and you're willing to have these different looks and variations, you have an answer for everything that any international team can throw out there. They want small guards out there that are giving you trouble. Okay, Derek White and Drew. You need length out there. We talked about, the wings that they have in LeBron, in KD, and in Jayson Tatum and Anthony Edwards. Like, you can go super big, super long, super athletic. You can go double big at times if you need to. And the fact that LeBron and KD and Jayson Tatum all can act as a double big as well as like a multi-versatile wing lineup, like you need, and this was the issue leading up to the Olympics, is there was no experimentation with any of these. And so now you're doing it on the fly, or you're making
it's like the one thing he's been okay with is just always having 3 guards on the court.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Which is like fine, that's an option, but that's weird that's the first thing you would go to, right? Like I don't see,
especially when you look around like the other teams that you might have to play, especially looking at a French team, for example. Like you're going to Jayson Tatum in that game. You're not going to be able to get away with going 3 guards against that team with Wemby, Gobert, and all the other length that they got on that team. Even Koulibaly,
dancing bear, Yabusele.
Yeah, Yabusele out there killing it. There's that one guy like Lasor. I think
I like him. His game's good. Yeah,
he's good, man. He's a good player.
Exactly. Koulibaly's a big dude as well. He's big wing.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of guys, and then you think about Canada. If you have to go up against Team Canada and guys that can guard SGA, who did a good job guarding SGA this year, Steve Kerr. If you watched any fucking tape, is Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum can guard SGA. You got some guys on this team that got torched by Dillon Brooks in last year's FIBA Cup because no one could guard Dillon Brooks. Like, hey, right. I think if you needed to stop Dillon Brooks, like Jayson Tatum would be okay taking that assignment. Like there's so many matchups.
That 39 like Dillon Brooks did on Anthony Edwards and Mikal Bridges last year.
Yeah, it's just silly to me. And then, like you said at the beginning, holding on to the Embiid experiment. Like, I get you promised him a spot and he could have played for somebody else. So there's probably a little bit more that goes into it. But
I mean, that's 100% what I think it comes down to. I think they 100%, this was an international negotiation of, hey, don't go to France. We'll make you the full-time starter. You're going to be out there with LeBron and Steph and KD and, and you're going to get your minutes. Like, it's not going to be, you won't be the guy that gets cut out. And I mean, out of the dudes that did play, he easily got the least amount of minutes. So that is the one piece to your point where if he has to stick by, hey, Grant Hill told him this, he at least pivoted after, I think, what did Serbia go up 10-2 to start the game, or 12-4 or whatever it was.
They just
and then brought Embiid out. And after that, it was, everything in the game turned as soon as they took Embiid out.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because it crossed my mind during the game. Were you surprised that either Drew Holiday, Derek White, LeBron, KD, somebody on the team didn't go to Steve Kerr and be like, hey, like, we need JT in the second half. Like, he can have my minutes. Or like, like later in the game, go JT. You don't need me right now. Yeah. We're up 18. Like, JT needs to be in this game.
Well, so here's so I'll say I wasn't surprised because I think there's only one guy that can do it. There's 2 guys that can do that. Steph and LeBron. I think they're the only 2 guys that could do that. I think KD is just gonna keep himself out of it. Like,
what about Drew or Derek White?
From the stature standpoint, I just don't think they're going. From what I know of their personalities, and then also factoring in the stature to go to the coach and be like, hey man, because here's the thing, it's not the All-Star game, right? If it's the All-Star game, that's different. And in in Olympic play, because point differential is going to matter not just for getting out of pool play, but then once you're seeding the three, let's say USA holds up their end of the bargain and they win all 3 games in the pool play, then it becomes them versus, let's say, Germany and Canada. If they all are undefeated, point differential then sets up your seeding for 1, 2, and 3. And obviously, Tatum can very much hold on to an 18-point lead and can help grow it. But I think when you're coming in cold at that point, that's also a factor because
Yeah,
you
well,
waited so
I
long for
think
that.
like
But
when they're up 18, that's one thing. But I was actually surprised in the second half that like Derek White or Drew Holiday, and I'm not saying they should have done this, but like it at least crossed my mind that one of them, because Jayson Tatum is their guy on the Boston Celtics, didn't go to Steve Kerr and be like, hey, like if there's a stint this half, like go to JT over me. Like we need him. Like
I just don't think
just
that's done. That's more my thing. I just don't think that's done by these guys.
I hear you. My point is, if there was an opportunity to do that, I think Derek White is the personality. I think Drew Holiday is the personality that would at least consider that type of conversation, because it's a serious thing, man, that Steve Kerr did not play Jayson Tatum and played two
here's
Celtic role players.
But behind closed doors, I think yes, they would do that. Mid-game, I'm saying I don't think they would do that. I think
That's
that
fair,
they would do maybe at halftime or something, but I don't. They're not going to do that like mid-game to them. Is more my thing. Yeah, it's really hard to figure out. And yeah, dude, Twitter was really hard to be on and enjoy that, because here's the thing. I was really enjoying Kevin Durant go off. I was really enjoying watching LeBron have just an incredible throwback game, nearly pulling off a triple-double. Drew Holiday was cooking out there. Steph got into his bag for a little bit. Like, that was a really fun Team USA performance, and it really sucked as Celtics fans to see the low-hanging fruit jabs that were just being kicked off left and right. And listen, if I was a hater, I probably would have done the same thing. So I can't be that upset at Twitter, but fuck Steve Kerr for that, because he created that. That's where all of my anger
podcast. This is a full fuck Steve Kerr podcast. But I'm wondering, so if Steve Kerr is true to his word and Jayson Tatum plays in the next game, what type of Jayson Tatum we're gonna see? When was the last time Jayson Tatum was benched for a game? Probably never in his life. I would imagine Jayson Tatum has never been benched his entire life. Right.
I mean, so I'd have to look back. I think last Olympics he either played the second or third most minutes on the team. Like KD was number 1, but then I think it was like Drew, Tatum, and Draymond were like the next couple of guys as far as. So like you said, even in all-star games, even in McDonald's All-American games, like whatever it might be, this is not a spot that Tatum is going to be used to. And so you're right. Number 1, does he come out and play angry? Like what?
Well, he will. We've seen, as Celtics fans, we've referenced just being Celtics fans. If you're tuning in right now and you're just a general NBA fan, Jayson Tatum responds to adversity. There's very few times where Tatum doesn't bounce back from a bad game or an off shooting night. He always is up for the big moments. And if I had to bet, judging off his track record, Jayson Tatum is going to come out and play one of the best games of his life in the next game. Obviously it's going to be a little bit difficult because his role on this team, even if he does get minutes, is going to be diminished.
It's 15 to 20 minutes max is like kind of like the area that he's going to get. So
but I wonder if we'll see just a Jayson Tatum we've never seen before, like taking charges, diving on the floor. Yeah.
Let's do this. And this will be a good way for us to kind of wrap up the podcast. Like you said, if he is true to his word, and potentially, like I said, I didn't know if he was just throwing a name out that maybe Bam will be the guy that does. And that might have been an example. I don't know how definitive it was that Bam's the guy that's not going to play. What do you think that will look like? Because it feels like the starting lineup, I'm guessing it's going to stay the same. Potentially, Booker might come out and Durant might go in would be the one change that I would potentially think might happen. But as far as who do you think Tatum is going to play with? Because Kerr did go away from the 5-on 5-off in this game and was doing it a little bit more 2 at a time here, 1 here. Like you said, Derek White and Drew split the court for like a minute or two. Where do you think he fits in? What's your best guess?
I mean, he's not going to start. If he does start, that would be That would be a move by Kerr to going from benching him to starting him. Be like, okay,
Yeah.
Steve Kerr, like you are caving to the public pressure. Like, at least bring him off the
You
bench.
have a
Steve Kerr.
backbone or not have a backbone? Like,
Yeah,
what are
like
we doing
which
here?
one is it, my guy? Which one is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think the lineup that I threw out there makes a lot of sense with both the Celtics guards, Tatum, KD, and AD. I think that's a great bench lineup
Yeah.
that they can go to. And then you replace Holiday. I don't think Tatum looked like he fit well with Anthony Edwards, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't like that look.
Yeah, so I don't know that he can play with Ant. I think Ant's just a little too selfish. But
Well, because here's the thing. So this is what I think it is. I think Ant has to be on the court with some combination of LeBron, Durant, and Curry. So I think those are because he's literally the most
those are
confident
the only
human
guys
being.
he'll defer to.
100. That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
Because he's the most confident human being in the entire face of the planet. Like did you see the clip of him saying that he would I'm not getting shut out in a ping pong match? Have you seen the ping pong matches? The motherfucker's getting smoked. He's getting smoked.
Anthony Edwards, I'm growing a little tired of him.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I appreciate the confidence. Him telling the team to suck it was pretty
That's
funny.
pretty great. He's hilarious.
He's hilarious. It's just
like
and this
one
is
of those guys where you're just like, how are you? Like, you are not confident. You're not overconfident. You're just cocky. Like, you're just a cocky guy.
Yeah,
that's
100%. Yeah. And he has very little. Yeah, do you think he's self-aware? I would say he has some. I don't know. This is one of those things where either
he's too
he's so
young,
self-aware and
he's
doesn't
too
care,
young,
or
talented, and all that
yeah,
to be self-aware, man. He's
doesn't
just
even think
living
about
his
it.
life.
Doesn't never even heard those two words together. He's like, what does that mean? I don't think he knows what self-awareness is. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I don't like the Ant and Tatum combo because I think he looks at it like, yo, Tatum, you better pass that rock to me. Like, I need to be the one taking this. And Tatum's like willing to be the playmaker. So I think Tatum is okay with that, but I don't think that suits him well because then he becomes
think about how Tatum functions with the Celtics. Like, if you want the best version of Tatum, that's why I threw out there both of the guards that know how to play with him. KD slides into that JB role, and then he's played really well with Luke Cornett as a rolling big. Anthony Davis is about the best version of that you can get. So I think if you wanted to feature Tatum, that would be the lineup that I would go to because it is a pretty good facsimile of what he goes with the Celtics.
Yeah, I think you give him a little bit of shooting out there. Like you said, I'd love to see him get some time out there with White and Holiday. But we'll see. Let's see if Steve Kerr is a man of his word. South Sudan and the U.S. going down on Wednesday, and then they'll follow that up with, I believe it's either Saturday or Sunday against Puerto Rico to round out pool play. So we will have more for you. Make sure that you guys are locked in here to us on Green with Envy. We will have you with some more Olympic coverage. Should any more controversies break, we'll be sure to have that. But Greg, any final thoughts here before we send everybody out with some Black Sheep Optimists?
Give me 2 minutes on your wedding.
Yeah, so over the weekend, your boy got hitched. Check out the ring here. Got the lifetime extension. The big deals for Green with Envy keep coming in. Big James Moy got the future all locked up, locked in. Key contributor Lorena Legarreta this weekend got her locked in for a lifetime contract. So, I mean, honestly, man, this is, as you know, and we're not gonna get into it too deep here. This is part one of two weddings, for some different reasons, but. This one was really cool because it was pretty small. We had the families together. So pumped you, Danielle, and James got to be a part of it with a really small, like the actual ceremony was just family and friends and your family. So it's not even friends, just family there. Yeah, man, it's been a lot. So I'm like, finally, I just did the last airport drop off right before we did this. Thank you, Joe Biden, for turning my 15-minute drop off into 2 hours and 15 minutes. A lot of fun. So I think I still need some time to decompress, but there is something about when you put that ring on, I will say, because I know you're going to be doing this pretty soon here at some point as well. I know there's already this feeling, but it's not, I just really don't know what it's like having a kid yet, but there's something when you're anticipating it and then when it actually happens and it takes it to that next level. And it does feel a little bit like a superpower. Like it kind of takes every emotion that you feel that you've already been to and you hit the mountaintop and you just reach a little bit higher, and it's great feeling and it's only going to continue. And it was awesome, man. Awesome weekend. Friends and family all involved. Couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, it was really cool seeing you actually make it official. Danielle and I have not been out in public with James since he's been born. So, we
Yeah.
had to make the exception. We did not listen to the doctor who told us we needed to wait another week before bringing him out. We brought him out. It was, you're his godfather for everyone out there. Like, me and Will's friendship is about as real as it gets. We're
Right. That's why, like I
brothers.
said, friends and family. Like, you know what? It literally was family because
Yeah.
your family. Like, there's
Yeah.
no other way to explain it.
Yeah, but I'm so happy for you, man. So happy for you and Lorena. And with that, we're gonna play you out with some Black Sheep Optimists. Peace, everybody.
Peace, everybody.
It feels like summer, baby. Oh mama, feel like summer. New season got me seeing new colors. So fly, the sky will kiss you. Lips so smooth, I miss your issues. Oh mama, feel like summer. New season got me seeing new colors. Oh my, I'm slipping into white lies and time to miss you.
Now you're 3 shots deep that you chase with the Croy. You're looking at me while you're making that noise. I've been trying to stay clean.